If you do run already native ads and meta ads, then this video is the perfect fit for you because we will speak about how you combine both of them together to have something like a superpower when it comes to online marketing. Hi everyone, my name is Marcel Sattler. I'm the founder of nativeadvertising.net, a platform where you can learn native ads, and we are an agency for nothing but native. Today, I want to speak about the full funnel strategy. And the ideal full funnel strategy contains, of course, native ads. I mean, I have an agency for nothing but native, so the native part should be huge. But to be totally frank for you, it makes sense to combine all the marketing funnels together and strategies together. And the good news here is if you run Meta, Google, native, everything together, everything in parallel, then you can do a bit of cherry picking. What do I mean by that? I will explain later. But in an idle case scenario, you have a full funnel strategy. We run an idle case here, very top of the funnel, native, oops, sorry for my horrible writing. And then here you have somewhere Facebook and Google. And here somewhere you have the sale. So that's the idle strategy. I mean, we know in practice it can look differently in our idle case usually. In our idle case, usually it looks like you have all native. So that's also possible, but you can combine them a bit. And what I mean by that is, first things first, what makes sense. When we speak about a native funnel, you usually have the ad, then you have an advertorial, and then you have the offer page, something like a Shopify checkout page, a lead form, whatever. And the advertorial is something pretty unique from native. And what definitely makes sense is to check out which is your best working, your best converting advertorial, and run that one on Meta too. Because in a majority of cases, this will work awesome. They can make you a ton of money because advertorials and Meta, they are perfectly together. They're a perfect match together. So that's the first thing you definitely can combine with each other. Run native, run Meta, use the best converting advertorials, not just for native, but also for Meta. And you will see if you do it correctly, you can do a lot of money here. Another thing is if you run both native and Meta, here, then you have the pixel. You have the pixel installed everywhere, the Meta pixel, the native pixel from Taboola or Outbrain or whichever platform you run. And of course, you should have them in your Shopify store in wherever every user is. And one little trick here is to retarget the native traffic on Meta, because this is working awesome. One important disclaimer here, don't do that if your audience size is super tiny. So don't do that if you spend 200, 300 bucks on native and then think you can retarget a huge audience on Meta. That's not the case. You need to have a huge audience, a huge pixel here on native or on Meta in this case to retarget your native audience. But if you're able to do that, then you can have a lot of benefits because these two platforms, especially when it comes to retargeting, they're working perfectly together. Another very important topic here is if you run already Meta in the past and you just add native, then my personal recommendation is always to separate the pixels. That means to create a new pixel for Meta, like a second pixel just for native. And that pixel you can install, for example, on your advertorials to gain the native advertising traffic exclusively on a separate pixel. That setup makes sense not to mix your audiences too much, especially if you have a very different audience on Instagram and Meta than on native. Because yes, the audience on native is different, and if you have a lot of Instagram conversions, then you might mess up your Meta pixel a bit. That means you can get a worse performance on Meta than you're used with it. So therefore, my recommendation is to create a new pixel to split the traffic a bit, because again, Instagram audience is a bit younger than native audience. On native, you have more older audience, something like 35, 40 plus. And the behavior usually is also differently if you compare directly with Instagram. Therefore, it makes sense to create a separate pixel here and also to separate the funnels to understand the behavior better. Because usually just because a funnel is working or a checkout page is working on Instagram or on Meta in general, it doesn't have to work automatically also with native. So in the majority of cases, we do run, if it's like an online store, we do run here the normal structure, which we have on native with the advertorial. And then we have a checkout page or an offer page. And let's say that one is a Shopify page. But alternatively, as an A/B split test, we do run a different offer page, which looks more like a native checkout page. And you have seen them, if you checked out native already, you've seen them a couple of times, but this is not a normal offer page. So this is a bit more, I mean, it's a bit more scammy, to be honest. It looks a bit more scammy. It uses different psychology patterns here to get the conversion now, but it fits for native, but it would not fit directly for Meta and vice versa. So therefore, we do run always a split test here. If the Shopify page is like too much in the new D2C style, like too shiny, too glossy, then it might not work on native and you have to develop here a new funnel, a new checkout, which is separate. But long story short, it makes totally sense to combine the platforms here, even though we are running exclusively on native, but I can tell you out of many client projects, it makes sense to combine the platforms here and do cherry picking, for example, like with the advertorials here, to use your best converting advertorials and also publish them on Meta. I hope you liked that video. If so, I would extremely appreciate if you give me a thumbs up. And by the way, write in the comments in what topics you're interested, because maybe we will create a video about that. Have a good one. See you next time.